Teenish Podcast. Today, Michael and I will be talking about how we can save the turtles together in this world. We're going to also be talking about how teens can actually be involved in recycling, not only at home, but also at school. So stay tuned and let's have fun at the Teenish Podcast.
Welcome to Teenish, a podcast by teens for teens. Teenish.
Over the past century, and in particular in the last several decades, human endeavors, from beach development to plastic refuse to poaching, long lines, nets, and even noxious chemicals, including oil, have upped the ante for sea turtles, causing their survival rate to drop to around 1% or less from each nesting cycle. It is this added human pressure which has pushed each of the 8 sea turtle species into either a threatened or endangered state. For while they have evolved to overcome a host of obstacles, the most recent has arisen so quickly and at such scale that the species find themselves overwhelmed. So let's quickly recap this cycle of odds. Using a hypothetical nesting season, for females may nest multiple times in a single year, of 1,000 eggs for sake of ease. 1,000 eggs laid. 800 hatch. 400 make it to the water. 200 progress toward adulthood. 20 survive to breeding age, that is, without human interference. 2 survive to breeding age with human interference. So, a breeding adult sea turtle is the very embodiment of a long shot. It is the exception, not the rule. A jackpot. It is, in a very real sense, a miracle.
Alrighty, you just got done listening to Scott Glass talk about the survival of sea turtles. And one thing that he mentioned was how sea turtles are really affected dramatically by the effects of humans and what we do to this world. And the reason why Michael and I wanted to start out with that video, which is actually a TED Talk, is because he shows how not only predators, but the harsh conditions of the environment, which are the oceans, how they play like a large and huge effect onto the sea turtles, which we find is very important to our ecosystem.
He breaks down how the odds of a sea turtle actually making it is just like so harsh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what were the odds on that? It was like, oh my god, so hard for a sea turtle to actually make it to where they live.
Yeah, so just based off of biology, each time that the sea turtles are transitioning to a new period, so from being born to going just to the ocean, which may be a couple of meters away or a few yards away, we're going to have half of those surviving due to crabs and the birds and stuff like that.
Birds, a lot of birds.
Yeah. But then once we start adding plastics and other harmful chemicals and things that we, as humans, put into the ocean, that's what's going to start decreasing not only the turtles but other species and animals that may live in the water.
Yeah, it's one thing for predation because, that's just a circle of life. Mm-hmm. But when you add humans that have nothing to do with their circle and are ruining the environment by polluting and leaving garbage and trash out, it affects their life.
Yeah.
But not ours.
Mm-hmm. And one thing that comes to people's minds when we talk about plastic is straws. And it is estimated that the average person uses 1.6 straws per day. And so that means that 25,000 people, if 25,000 people would stop using straws, that over one day, we can estimate that we would save and prevent 5 million straws from entering our oceans and harming our wildlife that are in the oceans. And so think about that. Just one day of not using straws, how we can have a dramatic change on our ecosystem.
or using like straws that are made out of different materials like metal or paper.
And so Michael and I, we're going to get into towards the end of the podcast on different things that we can do to decrease the amount of plastics that are in our world and how we can, try together to stop this from happening and from what we see so much in our oceans today.
So with the whole straw situation in mind, I still use a lot of straws. I use a lot of different plastic objects every single day. I know it's bad, and I'm going to start trying to not use them anymore, but how do you stick on that, Gene?
Well, in my household, we do use alternative straws, which we'll get into a little bit later. But me personally, on my keychain, I have a metal straw that I put together and I use whenever I'm drinking anything. Of course, Michael, you've seen me use my metal straw.
Take it everywhere.
Makes fun of me. But I bet you won't be making fun of me after we finish this podcast, Michael.
Anyways.
And then my family also recycles, which I know y'all recycle a lot as well.
Yeah, big into recycling.
Just in general, we recycle. And our city actually, did something huge by providing everyone with trash can size recycling bins.
I really enjoyed that. I'm glad that they did that.
And that was 5 years ago?
That was,
4, 3.
I don't know about 5 years ago. It was a little while ago.
Okay.
But we were using some boba behind.
Yeah. When we had those, when we had the little rinky-dink crack-a-lack bins, we didn't recycle in my household.
Oh, no, we've been recycling in this household for a long time.
Yeah, we didn't recycle because you had to, I think you had to go to City Hall to get it or something like that. But you had to use, of course, that one. And you can only fit 3 milk jugs, 2 egg cartons. I mean, it wasn't huge, but now we have the big ones where they actually have the machine trucks to come and pick them up. And so that's the big difference of trying to make it more easy, user-friendly, basically, for people in the city of Jacksonville to recycle.
Yeah, no, it's great what they did with the recycling bin situation. Like I said, my household has been recycling for a long, long time, even without those. But it never stopped us from using more plastic.
Yeah. And so plastic is very common, and plastic may be in things that we don't even consider plastic being in. But these are 10 items that plastics are in, and this includes bottled drinks, food containers, cups and lids, straws, cutlery, balloons, cigarette butts, plastic bags, also wrappers, so chip wrappers, sweets, also hand sanitizer containers are the applicants, or any hygiene applicants, and then also cotton buds, which the little plastic thing that has the cottons on both sides, the little
the Q-tips.
Well, the Q-tip is the brand, but it's called cotton swabs.
Anyways,
just like Band-Aid, Michael.
Oh, Band-Aid's a brand?
Yes, Michael, Band-Aid is a brand.
Oh gosh, you learned something new every day.
I done learned something.
A lot of people don't understand why plastic is so harsh on the environment. Plastic has toxic pollutants that damage the environment, and it can take up to hundreds or even 1,000 years to break down. It's just long lasting to the environment.
And so Michael and I we were talking about plastic, and I was saying, Michael, plastic is 100% non-biodegradable. And then what did you say, Michael?
Okay, so we meant the same thing, but you said so much better words than I did.
It was just like I was like, I know, I just told you that, Michael. But you flipped it around and you were like, they last forever.
Okay. So basically, what I was saying is that plastics do not.
They don't break down.
They don't break down. Yeah. That's what I was saying, is that they never break down and they last forever.
Yeah.
But Gene said
they're 100%.
They're 100% non-biodegradable.
Yeah,
which is the same thing.
I know.
He just sounds a lot smarter saying it than I do.
No, I just brought it up, and then it's just like, I was like, what? Wait, what did you just say, Michael? But the plastics are not degradable. And so but the thing is some plastics that are not biodegradable while others can be biodegradable. And so plastics that we recycle and that that's commonly known to be recycled is the ones that have, the number 2 on it. So, the recycling sign with the number 2 on it, the number 4 and the number 5. So the number 2, which is also abbreviated as HDPE, is like bottles, dispensary bottles, recycling bins, and playground equipment. The 4, so the ones that have a number 4 on it, are plastic bags, grocery bags, tubing, and then also laboratory equipment, what we may use in our biology classes, Michael. Number 5 is reusable bags, dishware, ice cream containers, and then also food containers.
Now you know what? I did not know about that number 5. We've been recycling number 2s and 4s for like such a long time.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that you could recycle reusable bags, ice cream containers.
And the reason why people usually don't is because, think about it, ice cream, you got to clean the ice cream out.
You got a point.
The food containers, you got to clean the food out. But the milk is just like, okay, put some water in there, shake it up.
There you go.
But I can say that sometimes in my household, we would reuse food containers. So
I also...
Well, I used to hate it because... I mean, like if you reuse the butter.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking of.
And then the butter,
like the country,
yeah. You would open it and you would be like, oh yeah, I know it's some butter in here.
And then it was like corn.
Yeah, and you get like so disappointed. That has happened before.
That's happened to me too.
And I'm like, what in the world? Why are we doing this? But look, actually, that is good if you think about it.
Yeah,
we are reusing. That's one of the.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, we're reusing things. So what is it? Reuse,
reduce, reuse, recycle.
There you go. And so that is one of the tactics of reusing. Another reusable tactic that we can use is also reusing plastic bags from like stores. Like we have a whole 2 cabinets full of just plastic bags.
Okay, you know my dad loves reusing plastic bags.
Yeah, because when I'm in your house and I'm like, dang it, I need a plastic bag.
Your daddy just pops up from out of nowhere with a plastic
bag. Go to
daddy's
room and then, give me 1 second. And then you'll hear some shuffling and then he pops
up with like 50 different plastic bags.
You want a Walmart one?
You want a Publix one? Oh, I got a JCPenney's one over here.
But that is like so good that we're using tactics, like not even thinking about it, like to reuse things and to make sure that even if we throw the plastic bags away, what were we taught from a little age to do with plastic bags when we throw them in the trash, Michael?
Whenever you have a bag that you throw in a trash can, we were always taught to tie them up so that way to a fish or a turtle, they don't look like a jellyfish.
There you go. Yeah. And so do you do that?
I always do that, yeah.
Now, I know I just caught Michael in a lie. Now, if y'all were able to see his face when he just said that. Now, I'm going to ask you again. Okay?
I do that sometimes.
When was the last time you did that, Michael? Dang, Michael, you spit out your mouth. Okay, let's move on. Because for me, I don't throw plastic bags away. We just keep reusing them. We reuse them. When you're done, put it under the little cabinet. Let's go get it again. And we just keep reusing them.
But another thing that we were taught to do, adding on to that when we're little, them little plastic can holders.
The little snappy things?
Yeah, no, the things that are on like a 6-pack of Coke.
We were taught to cut those, yeah.
Cut those.
Yeah, okay, so we were taught a lot of things on what to do. Yeah, because of the birds. Yeah, we were taught to cut those. With the pop tops on the. Were we taught to take those off?
Take those off, and put them inside the can. Is that one?
I mean, I guess you could put them inside the can, but we also just use it for fundraising.
Oh, that's true.
But it was a double way of making sure that.
Yeah, just to make sure that it was not on the can.
Yeah. And so another one of the 5 another one of the ways that plastic is harmful to the world is that plastic kills more than just people. And Michael and I were just talking about the ways that the tactics that we use to, safeguard the animals that live on this world. And so we were talking about the birds, but not only can plastic, affect the outside of the bird by getting caught onto the bird, it can also damage the insides of the birds.
Yeah. Okay, so this is going back to what I said about the circle of life.
Yeah.
If, say, a fish swallows a bottle cap on accident, but it still lives through it, and then a bird goes and eats that fish, and then that bird then has that bottle cap still inside of it because, like we said, plastic is non-biodegradable.
Yeah, and so it's going to digest that bottle. It's going to digest that fish, but it's not going to digest that bottle cap.
Yeah.
And so as we keep going on, we're going to find these birds that are just deserted and dead on the in the ocean and on the beaches.
And stuff.
Because of the things that are inside and entangled inside of the birds and just other animals in general.
Yeah. Because when that fish eats the bottle cap and then the bird eats the fish, then maybe a gator might eat that bird, and
because
then
we're just passing all of this away, and then not even to talk about how some countries just dispose of their trash just into the ocean.
Yeah. And exactly. Yeah. A lot of countries just throw it right in there, like the rubber duckies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's still rubber duckies being washed up to this day.
Yep, to this day. So mean, by the way.
Yeah, if you don't know about the rubber ducky situation, you should probably look it up. It's really important.
Stay connected with Michael and I on social media.
Follow the Teenish Podcast on Instagram at Teenish Podcast.
And like our Facebook page at Teenish. Michael and I can also be found on YouTube at the Teenish Podcast, where you can find interactive videos of our podcast episodes.
We hope you can join our growing social media community. And now, back to Teenish.
So Michael and I, we have some tips to help protect and save the turtles.
Tip number 1, don't buy souvenirs made out of endangered turtles.
And so when doing this, it's kind of hard to, say oh, this must come from a turtle. But you can ask people, of course, and then if it doesn't look right, and of course you don't want to support the cause, then don't buy it at all.
And you'd be surprised how many souvenirs are actually made out of actual animals.
Yeah. And while doing that, try to also reduce your carbon footprint. And so we know that the warming of the planet also skews sex ratio within the baby turtles, and then it also changes the amount of prey that may be attacking the turtles, and then also affecting the erosion of the beaches and so much more. And so things that we can tactics that we can use to reduce our carbon footprint, from even taking a walk or riding our bike rather than driving or even carpooling, can help save the turtles.
Another great thing to do is choosing responsibly caught seafood or just not eating seafood at all. Because the thing is with seafood, you never know what that animal ate before you caught it. You don't know where you caught it from if you didn't catch it yourself. So many things that could go on with seafood could be very dangerous.
Yeah, and then one thing to watch with seafood is the bycatch, so the BYCATCH. And environmental class, we actually learned about this, and that's also called unwanted catch. So it's okay, well, we're fishing for salmon and we caught some tilapia, but instead of throwing the tilapia away, we're going to also sell this. This fish that we usually don't sell. So then that means that it's going to be processed differently, and then it may be, mess with what's already being produced in that plant. And so you want to stay away from bycatch seafood or just become a vegan like me.
Just say no to plastic. Sea turtles and other ocean life make plastic as food and ingest it.
Yeah, so my household, like I said earlier, we use the metal straws. Cardboard and paper straws have also been becoming, one of the big proponents of. They decompose in 45 to 90 days, and they're very eco-friendly compared to plastic straws.
Cardboard and paper straws are really good, but you do have to take into consideration how long it'll take you to get used to them. But once you get used to them, it's well worth it for the environment.
I'm still not used to the plastic. I'm still not used to cardboard and paper straws.
Bro, me neither.
Now, BurgerFi, I know that I just saw your look. You was about to say BurgerFi. That's the only place not the only place, but
that's the main place
where it's like you're thirsty and you want to drink something.
You have to use a paper straw.
Yeah, and then you get so mad because then the straw melts in the drink. Every
10 minutes, you got to get up and go get a new straw.
Thank you. And it's just like, well, I might as well just not even use a straw. Just
you take off the lid of your cup, and then people are looking at you like you're crazy.
Yeah. And another thing that you can use is a glass straw. And of course, it's not great when you're traveling and something like that. But a company like Simply Straws, they've created both a straight and bent straw that is used to, help those looking for alternative straws. So glass straws, and also silicone straws.
Okay, yeah.
Now, you remember that? You've used silicone straws.
I've used silicone straws.
Yeah, they come with some cups.
Yeah, some cups have silicone straw.
Mm-hmm. And then also the metal straws. I'm a big proponent of the metal straws. Now, I do not like the ones that it's just a long metal tube. I like the ones that I can take apart, make it a half straw, just because I can transport it much easierly than, just the long ones. But my friend Isaiah from school, he uses that metal straw in his Dunkin' Donuts each and every day. So if he could use the straw, what?
What are them straws? Are they like beta straws that can like filter out stuff?
Beta? Not Breda,
something like that.
Yeah, I had one too, and it broke. Yeah, but the water that used to come out of that bottle.
They're supposed to be called like life straws.
Yeah, they have a bottle though, like a plastic bottle, okay. Like a refillable bottle that you put the water in and you drink it through the filtered straw. I don't care what water you put in that bottle. It can be DCPS, Lakeshore, nasty behind water coming out of the wall.
Bringing me back stomach aches, man.
And that water would be so purified. So good. And I don't like my water cold anyway, so...
Yeah, which is
but it will still work
super
when it's
strange
cold.
To me. But.
Yeah. But hey, pretty good, right? And so when we're talking about plastic, another thing to remember about plastic is just to say no. And Michael and I, we just told you a lot of things that you can do to say no to plastic. And also leaving no trace behind. So when we go to the beach, make sure that we take everything. And if you see something flying off in the distance that is yours, go run after it, because that is something that we try to do here, or at least my family and people that I've seen.
It's like when you're little and you're taught to clean up your toys. Mm-hmm. It's like if you make a mess, you have to clean that mess back.
And I feel like that we were raised, especially going to Jacksonville Heights and Lakeshore, that we were raised to make sure we clean up after ourselves and to make sure that we keep our environment and especially our campus clean. And so I know at our middle school we had the WADA Club, so Warriors Taking Action Club,
as well as ISSP going around the school picking up trash.
Yep. And so I couldn't tell you from experience. So what would y'all do?
Oh, putting me on the spot there.
Yeah, you said ISSP, which is in-school suspension.
Okay, so what you would do if you got ISSP, I heard this from a little birdie anyways.
Mm-hmm. Continue.
You would, at the end of the day, more towards lunchtime-ish, they would take you out of your class. This is not always, this is just on occasion. They'd take you out of the class, and they would put you with the janitor, and they would let you pick up trash.
A janitor? You would walk around the school with a janitor?
Yep. Had the little pokey things.
Okay. Oh, the cleanup sticks?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, joining the calls, so whether that even be like on Instagram, liking or subscribing to a turtle website or a recycling website, something that is used or something that is advocating for us to help save the environment.
Yeah, or even if you donate $1 to it.
Yeah. Yeah. And those balloons, man, and also the rubber duckies, Michael, the case that you were talking about from the early 1990s.
Yeah, it was 1992.
Yeah. So
they released I don't know how many thousands of rubber duckies into the Hudson River.
Yep. And then also that happened with balloons as well, where so many balloons were released, and then they all went the wrong way. They expected the balloons to go one way.
I remember that,
this, yeah.
Yes.
And they all went another way, and then it all ended up in the ocean. And so, and also somebody got lost on that day as well in the ocean, and they couldn't determine if what they saw was actually balloons or people.
Now, I did not know about that part of the story. That's very sad.
Imagine trying to find a needle within the haystack. Okay, imagine that. But imagine trying to find a needle within the needle inside of the haystack.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's like you're trying to find a needle out of all the needles, but the needles are in the haystack. So just so much that was caused wrong on that day. And then think about how many animals thought those were jellyfish and birds that thought those were jellyfish. Not even considering about the amount of power outages that were caused by that.
Choose your sunscreen carefully. Chemicals in some types of sunscreen can damage coral reefs and pollute turtles, habitats, all of that stuff. You know, you don't really know what's in your sunscreen. You don't really know what's in anything like that, like your sun tanning lotion, your just regular lotion, your aloe.
Yeah, and try to avoid sunscreens with oxybenzone, which is is what you're talking about, which is an aggressive chemical that harms the reefs, which are a part of the ecosystems of turtles and other animals. So you want to find brands that are labeled as reef friendly. Yeah. And then also avoid sprays that can pollute the sand where turtles may nest at. So in Jacksonville, we rope off the areas where we know that turtles are. And so if you have any questions about how to save the turtles, go to Sea Turtles, which is SEE turtles.org. Their website helped us out a lot when creating this website, when creating this podcast, and when Michael and I were trying to learn how can we help better the environment, how can we help not only save the turtles, but, you know, this is where we live at as well. So this website was a great, and it helped us a lot. So that is Sea Turtles, which is SEE turtles.org. And if you would like to contact Michael and I, you can email us at the host, which is TheHosts at theteenishpodcast.com.